There he is, Ryan Pappenhausen, all over the place. I love the way the Melbourne Storm push around the ball. None better than that man. Loves getting his hands on the football. The Melbourne Storm to kick off. We'll see some physical stuff, I'm sure, early in this game.
You'd imagine Elliot Whitehead pushing to an edge with Ryan Sutton going to the middle. And a mild afternoon here in Wagga Wagga. The breeze at the backs of the Raiders to begin the game, and it is Papali'i. He will begin for the Raiders to bring it out to just inside their own 20. Stopped there by Kafusi and also Asava Solomona. Here is Whitehead. The decoy run by Tarpany. Ryan Sutton into the side, the starting side for the first time in 2022. Here he is taking a carry now. Brings it up to Asava Solomona and also Jesse Bromwich. Tom Starling in the starting side came off the bench last week with Matt Frawley, the starting dummy half for Ricky Stewart over the past couple of weeks. Here is Starling now bringing Nickel Klukstar onto the ball. He'll play up at the halfway line. Chance on this right-hand side for Brad Schneider to do the first kick of the game. Got a bump there from Asava Solomona coming forward. Pappenhausen makes the catch and will play it here just outside the Melbourne 20, and an incident-free opening set for the Raiders.
You just see Schneider just kicking the ball downfield there. Solomona was the man that just sprinted out from marker. They put pressure on kickers better than any other team in the NRL. He'll be in for a tough afternoon. And there's the first penalty to the Melbourne Storm. Olam just trying to get to his feet. And there's that little challenge there. Just, I'm going to be here all afternoon, son. Get ready for it.
Wasn't a lot in it, but it wasn't in the fashion of making a tackle all the same there from Asava Solomona. Needs to be careful, of course. The Melbourne Storm, second most penalised team in the competition, as Josh King brings it forward. What a story he is now, 27 years of age, playing his 83rd game in the NRL. He's dropped it there. In fact, it's been helped out by the Raiders. And Melbourne will get the first chance deep on the attack following a kick for line.
Yeah, a little bit of fine line between being over-aggressive here from the Canberra Raiders. They just eat that up, the Melbourne Storm. A couple of penalties early in the game so far. You've got to keep that aggression up. Just can't go overboard with it.
It's Kenny Bromwich who will play it here just outside the 30. He's been in try-scoring form and try-assist form as well on that left-hand side for Melbourne to begin this new season. Brother Jesse here, 25 away from the Raiders line. Opening minutes between Melbourne and Canberra. Hughes goes first man option there. Asava Solomona lost it in the contact there. Tarpany was up in his face. The congratulations go around the Canberra forwards for stopping big Nelson Asava Solomona.
Well, that's a little bit of a win there from the Raiders on the back of two penalties. To force the ball free there. Big Sofa there, losing the football. A flat pass. And up in his face there, the Canberra Raiders get one back. I'll be happy with that.
We have a man in a harness, quite sensibly, retrieving balls from the roof of the grandstand here during the game, Blocker, and during the New South Wales Cup game that preceded this one between the Mounties and the Raiders. A couple of balls landed on the roof and scared the life out of us. We didn't know what was going on.
I think I was more scared than you.
Here are the Raiders to work it away from their own end. Whiten at the line. See if they can open up something for him today. Slow play the ball. Tarpany comes through the hands there of Sutton and Schneider. Nickel Klukstar has been going backwards. Sammy Valame is quite a size playing in the centres these days, the big Fijian. And he's just outside the Melbourne 10. Off the back of the error made by Asava Solomona. Schneider comes to Papali'i. Ryan Sutton taking a carry through the middle. Restarted set of 6 for infringement. More tackles coming up here for Canberra. Schneider, first man option was Whitehead. Well stopped though on that right-hand side. Kafusi was there, so were Hughes and also King. Starling from dummy half goes to Papali'i. Schneider's collared. Munster coming out of the line. It was an all-or-nothing tackle, and he got him above the shoulders.
Yeah, he did. I don't think there was any swinging arm in there. He made the decision early to come up out of the line. Did creep up a little bit high there. I think penalty sufficient. And the Raiders showing their hand right away. They're going to take the 2 points. Schneider, it is again, put on notice that he's going to be put on plenty of pressure tonight. or this afternoon. He'll take the conversion. Right in front, 10 metres out, they'll open the scoring. Jesse Bromwich just coming out to ask the question of the referee here.
So from right in front, Jesse Bromwich coming out. Just a bit of a warning there from the referee. As we said, Melbourne the most penalised, or second most penalised team in the NRL, and a couple of early ones go against them here. This one should cost them 2 points, with Schneider from right in front with the Breeze at their backs in this first half. Raiders, as we mentioned, down last week to the Seagulls up there in Mudgee. Before that, they were winners, came from behind, a long way from behind to win 24-22 against the Gold Coast Titans. Back in round 2, they were soundly beaten by the Cowboys. Their form has been very mixed. They've gone win-loss, win-loss to start this new season. And from right in front, Schneider will put them on the board here today. Flags up in Wagga. It's Canberra 2, Melbourne 0, downstairs to Jake Duke.
Yeah, good afternoon, gentlemen. A great carnival atmosphere here in Wagga Wagga. About 8,000 fans expected to come in today. The rain has held off for most of the day, but we are starting to get a little bit of sprinkle down here, so that will be an interesting one to watch. That breeze behind the Raiders is picking up a little bit as well. Of course, the Storm are shooting for a 5th straight win over Canberra as we wait for the ball to get back to the kicking tee here, but just a little bit more on that late change with Ryan Sutton coming into the side, Hudson Young going out. It's a toe injury for Hudson Young. He didn't train all week, but the Raiders aren't too concerned that it's serious.
There's good news for Hudson Young. Here's an awful kickoff to handle. Jack Whiten did very well, going to his knees in the end, swirling around in the breeze with not much spin on that one. Ryan Pappenhausen. There's Papali'i. Works it forward here. Trying to seal it one-on-one as they dropped off on the tackle there. You saw the extended arms of Josh King saying to Jesse Bromwich, you've got free rein to have a crack at the ball there, but he was able to hang on to it, Papali'i. Ryan Sutton plays it. From Starling, it comes away here to Tarpany. Back towards the halfway line. Been all the forwards so far in this set for the Raiders. Now a bit of width. In fact, Whiten will kick a tackle early. Pappenhausen coming across. No pressure there on the kick. He'll link up here with Xavier Coates. Runs into the shoulder of Hadawita-Naida. They pick him up with the intention of driving him back in the in-goal area. It was Whiten who joined the melee as well. What a shot by Hadawita-Naida.
Yeah, it was a great shot, wasn't it? But they've given away the penalty. Just off the line a little bit too quick, the Raiders. Good tactics, kicking before the last tackle and putting some pressure on the back three there of the Melbourne Storm. Some good collision.
Boy, that was a rocking shot. Look at it again. He only just looked up and saw him, and there he was, putting that shot on Xavier Coates. And then Jack Whiten, as strong as he is, picks up Coates, who is 100 kilograms or thereabouts, and carried him back towards the in-goal area. So Melbourne, off the back of their first penalty, take it forward here. Sutton there to stop. Asava Solomona is still pushing his way towards the line. There are some very large humans on the field here today in Wagga Wagga.
Yeah, as we said, we're going to see a lot of collisions in this game of footy. There's no doubt about it. The Raiders just a little bit too enthusiastic, giving away 3 penalties early in this first half.
Grant goes to Munster back on the inside here for Kenny Bromwich. He saw half a gap, or more than half a gap. It was closed only just by Tarpany and Nickel Klugstar. Grant out of dummy half. He brings Jesse Bromwich onto the ball at speed. Back to Grant. Play on. Munster cleans it up. Grubbers, a chase through. Nobody was there. Leading the win, it was Matt Tomoko who will try and bring it back to the field of play. Oh! He took a chance. He took a chance to pass it. It looked like Melbourne might have got a hand on the ball first.
Well, I think that's going to be a try. They just tried to offload the ball out the back. It was a flick pass. He's got no try here, the referee. And Grant just in and behind that line. It's such an advantage to have a little hooker who can kick in and behind the play. Now, here's the collision. There's the flick, the attempted flick out the back. No, it's knocked on.
Ball has been passed backwards.
Luckily, it's Nick Meaney coming in to make the tackle. He gets his left forearm on the ball and knocks the ball on in goal. What a let-off this is going to be for Canberra.
It's going to be a tough afternoon for Starling too, that's starting in the hooker role there for the Canberra Raiders. They'll aim at him and try and get a few offloads, and exactly what happened there.
You got 6 more for the 10 metres. But
big job for that young fella this afternoon. He generally saves him up. He got great speed out of dummy half, but he's going to have to defend well here.
So it will be a knock-on in goal against the Melbourne Storm, and Canberra will bring it out here for a restart from their own 20. So a massive turnaround. That was going to be a goal line dropout for all intents and purposes. Instead, could have been a try quite easily. Instead, they get the ball back, and now Rapana has been left reeling here, clutching the back of his neck off the back of this tackle from Kenny Bromwich was involved, and also Nelson Asava-Solomona was it. Watch this again.
Geez, he gets grasped pretty quickly. Yeah, oh, there it is. That's an awkward position. There's no way that is deliberate. That's just an accident in the game. A man coming over the top. His neck got caught in an ordinary position, but there's no way they could have done anything about that. Rapana will get up and they'll get the penalty.
So Kenny Bromwich goes on report. It's one of those ones, I mean, it's a plague, the old crusher tackle in the NRL, but so many of the situations evolve from the player with the ball hitting and spinning in the tackle and ending up facing his own goal line. You just never, if you go back and watch, as we do on Fox League on occasions, replay the old games from the 80s and the early 90s, players ending up in that situation was almost unheard of.
Yeah, 100%. Well, he just got grasped underneath and then, as you said, spun out of the tackle, and then the second man in over the top. It's got him in an awkward position. I don't think that was any way deliberate, that one. Anyway, he's on report and a penalty.
Gives them a chance. He's okay to continue on for the moment. Is Jordan Rapana still clutching the back of his neck, though, out here on the right-hand side as Whiten goes to Nickel Klugstar. The weather slightly closing in, as Jake Duke told us just a moment ago. They're out there on that left-hand side, and the fullback will play it there. Comes from Chotrich, goes to Whiten, Tarpany, Starling. Here is Schneider. Olam came in quickly, was able to shut him down. They're at the 30. Midway through the set, Canberra looking for points here off the back of the two they grabbed from the penalty earlier in the game. Tarpany will play it. Eventually taken down by Grant and Kafusi. Papali'i hitting and spinning. Grant around the legs. Kenny Bromwich over the top with Jesse there to help as well. Whiten at the line. Grubbers. Is it too big by some distance?
Gee, they do a good job on you too. You know, Tarpany, Papali'i, those sort of guys can offload the football and stand in tackles. Just watch how the Melbourne Storm are so good at getting three in the tackle and taking you down to the ground. Haven't got an offload yet.
Points have been hard to come by for the Canberra Raiders in this new season. They're averaging just 15 points per game, ranked 11th in the NRL. By contrast, the Melbourne Storm averaging 27 points a game, not quite double the amount that Canberra have scored through the first month. It's a mismatch as far as that part of the game is concerned. So far, though, Canberra lead 2-0. Kenny Bromwich wrapped up there by Schneider and also Sammy Valame. Midway through the set as Munster comes here to Asava-Solomona, standing there in the tackle of Whitehead, Papali'i and Tarpany. Over the top. In fact, it was Hatawita-Naida, third man involved there, as Hughes step off the right foot, had the edge defence there of Papali'i under pressure. Last play for Melbourne. Grant looks for an option, can't find one, so he lobs a kick in behind Chotrich, who was under pressure there. Did he lose it at the goal line? This might bear looking at, because Melbourne think they might have scored a try. It's a knock-on is the immediate call, but he was on top of the goal line. Watch this again. Gets hit here by Coates, loses the ball and regathers it. In fact, he did regather it before Pappenhausen was able to plant it down.
Yeah, he certainly did. Chotrich there, just trying to get back in the field of play. Just, if you have a look at it, tried to change the ball into the other hand. I don't know why he was trying to do that, but anyway, lucky to get one away there. But right in the middle of the park now, the Melbourne Storm, 10 metres out. There's something brewing there at the scrum.
Munster and Pappenhausen. Now they float to the left-hand side. Hughes goes back to the right. Can he use the space? The pass goes past Remus Smith. Xavier Coates ends up with it. It was almost like an NFL-style play there. The quarterback had a running back behind him, and then the shift to the right-hand side. It was 3-on-3, but Canberra did well. Kafusi will play it. Scored a good try last week. Now Hughes, Munster. Numbers on the left-hand side. Bromwich is there. Good tackle, though, by Schneider. The young halfback stops him a couple of metres out. From Grant, Hughes. Asava Solomona steaming onto it down Main Street. He's close. Desperately looking to see whether he's got the ball down. Jared Sutton is there and wants to check. He says initially no try.
Now we're going to give a rap here to Schneider, the young halfback for the Canberra Raiders. He's going to be in for a tough afternoon. Defensively, he's made a couple of telling tackles on Kenny Bromwich, who's taken him on. Here's the put down here from Bigger Sofa against the post, against the upright. He's short.
And remains short at the conclusion of the tackle.
Chance Nickel Klukstar getting his foot in there underneath the ball to make sure it didn't touch the chalk. So close for Asava Solomona, but he'll be denied here. And some attention in the hands of the trainer off the back of that effort close to the goal line as well. Runs towards Tarpany, who was around the shoulders. Was there just a bit of a flexing of the neck as he went towards the line, and coming across Nickel Klukstar's body just bent his neck a little bit to the right as he went towards the try line itself.
I think it'll take a little bit more to get him off.
You would think. Wait and see, of course, what the independent doctor in the bunker makes of that situation there. For the moment, Melbourne have 2 plays remaining. Grant from dummy half. Munster showing it inside, taking them on himself. Comes to Hadaway and Nida. Kenny Bromwich knocked it on. It's going to be a ball coming back to Melbourne, fortunately, because there was a hand in there from a Raiders defender which knocked the ball forward in the first case.
Yeah, Harawira and Nida it was who knocked the football on. They get an opportunity. Geez, dangerous. How strong is he? Munster there, just the ability to stand in tackles and offload the football. You'd be hanging around him a lot. But you got to pay credit to the Raiders' defence so far. They've put them under plenty of pressure. Will they crack this set?
Real let off there for the Melbourne Storm. Now Grant from the scrum win. Hughes juggled it, lost it, got it back. Somehow he's hung on to it. And they'll play it here from 10 away. Grant goes from dummy half. Just give it to Harry. He says enough of this. No more juggling, no more bobbling. I'm going to take them on and score myself.
Well, there's your next Australian hooker there. What about this kid for a player? Just took it upon himself from dummy half. There's nothing doing, really. They go up the short side, scoops the ball up, bounces over the top of Klukstar. Harry Grant, with all that pressure, the Melbourne Storm score. What about the way he explodes out of dummy half, the speed off the mark, the way he scoops the footy up? And that's a great try to the Storm. What a player this kid is.
Boy, they got very lucky, didn't they, to retain possession. Cameron Munster could have easily coughed it up. Kenny Bromwich was there. Jerome Hughes had that moment off the scrum win again, off the knock-on by Canberra. And then Harry Grant said, look, enough of that. This is the way you do it. You go north-south, you go at speed and low to the ground as he is. He was unstoppable.
And they do it so well, don't they? They mount pressure better than any other side in the NRL. The Melbourne Storm eventually, poor old Canberra Raiders couldn't hang on. And just a little bit of individual play there from Harry Grant. As you mentioned, just took off, scooped the ball up, took off, straight over Klukstar.
Kicking into the breeze in this first half is Ryan Pappenhausen, coming off a 24-point game last week individually in the 44-0 win over the Bulldogs down there at Amy Park. It was quite a show that he put on for the local fans who haven't seen Melbourne at home much in the last couple of years, quite obviously. Good strike here to add 2 points, and it's Melbourne 6, the Raiders 2 here in Wagga Wagga. Jake Duke.
Yeah, isn't it? Don't we have an embarrassment of riches when it comes to hookers in the NRL? You talk about Harry Grant pushing for the Australian spot. Obviously, Damien Cook's had that in recent years. But then you've got Reid Marnie as well at the Parramatta Eels, where Harry Grant will go up against him for that Queensland hooking role as we get closer and closer to Origin. But just a little bit of news there as that try was scored, boys. Nelson Asafa-Solomona, we saw him grabbing his shoulder a little bit earlier. He's come off with a HIA card, but there obviously is that issue around his arm. We'll keep you updated on that. Brendan Smith, the Cheese, into the game.
Now the Cheese is out there. It's a different style of footballer that replaces Nelson Asafa-Solomona, but my goodness, just as effective as Brandon Smith. And his combination with this man, Harry Grant in particular, he can be dynamic at times. Grant brought Smith onto a ball last week from close range, and he was able to crash his way in. Now a shift from inside their own 20. Pappenhausen goes to Kenny Bromwich. Now playing here 25 short of the halfway line. Here is Brandon Smith. A ball of energy as usual with his first carry. Met there by a three-man tackle, including Josh Papali'i. Grant. Now they're rolling. Bromwich, Hughes. Look a bit sharper, don't they, off the back of the errors almost they had at the other end. Doesn't stop them from scoring 6 points. Munster puts it in the air. Lovely torpedo, difficult one to handle, and almost a problem there for Chotrich and also Nickel Klugstar. They could have crashed into each other pretty comfortably. In the end, it was a good catch made by the winger.
It looked like he called for the footy there, but both sides, gee, it's been a quality game. Only the one error from both teams so far. The completion rates are right up there.
Now the rain getting just a little bit heavier here as we speak. And Wagga, as Nickel Klugstar plays it, Starling out of dummy half, looking for somebody there. Nobody really putting their hand up for the Raiders coming onto that. They did a forward screaming onto that. Now Sutton is there. Gets to the edge, stopped by King and also Hughes. Last play for Canberra. It's Whiten who puts it up. Some pressure here on Nick Meaney. He's been a real star for the Storm after switching from the Bulldogs. He makes a good catch here under pressure. Hands it off for Ryan Pappenhausen, and just like that, they're out of danger.
Yeah, just the confidence of these young blokes that come in. The Melbourne Storm, Meaney, as you mentioned, he's been outstanding for them. Takes the ball on the full and then straight away the offload. Showing plenty of confidence. Here he is carrying the ball through the middle again.
It's Grant. Jumps out one way, then almost ducks through a hole there between Whitehead and Tarpon. He plays it doubly quickly, and Hughes sets Kafusi in motion. Remus Smith back on the inside. Well stopped, though, by Matt Tomoko. That was an important tackle. Last one here for the Storm. Goes to Hughes on the short side. He'll hook it back, looking for Xavier Coates. It hits the deck, comes back to a Raider who might have knocked it on. In fact, it was a Jack Whiten who lost it. He did. Xavier Coates ends up with it.
Well, can you believe it? The unreasonable to kick there for Xavier Coates is so good in the air. Oh, there's some solid tackle.
Brandon Smith going to the line, cleaned up by Tarpany and Papali'i. Big Papa over the top. Says, not on my watch. Now King sees some space. He's only a metre or so away from that Raiders try line. Grant waiting for a disentanglement. 6 again is the call. Harry says, I'll have another dip at them. So a new set here for Canberra, taking too long to get off the man with the ball. Munster, big fend, stopped there by Hadaway tonight. Boy, a big don't argue in the face there of Nickel Klugstar, who was pushing out from the A defender position and was sat on his shorts.
Gee, they're always at you, aren't they, the Melbourne Storm? A number of players, as you said, Harry Grant, another go out of dummy half, and then Munster backing himself.
Well, that shot from Papali'i over the top of Brandon Smith. That was a great replay there as Pappenhausen is stopped here by Jack Whiten getting up in their face. 3 tackles gone in their set. Kafusi hitting, spinning, staying alive. Starling was there. He wraps him up with Nickel Klugstar. Just about spun his way in. Now Grant, grubbering, played at by Canberra. 6 more plays here for Melbourne. The pressure has been enormous on this Raiders defensive line, and Melbourne have had 60% of the ball. Grant will find Pappenhausen. Munster is there, waiting as coolly and calmly as you would like. Turning Kenny Bromwich back on the inside. Still inside the Canberra 10. They've owned this part of the field. It's King on the wraparound. Grant is there. Numbers. Hughes. He sees some space. Finds it eventually. Jerome Hughes scores try number 2 for Melbourne. Well, and the pressure blocker just had to tell.
Yeah, it had to. They had a couple of lucky ones there, the Melbourne Storm, but they're good enough to make them pay. Just look at the catch and pass from their middlemen here. 1, 2, spins out of the tackle, offload, Grant stays alive. The footwork, they just couldn't come up on Hughes off the right foot, and he scores. If you can put it down to their middlemen with their passing game, and Grant staying alive, Hughes gets over. They just couldn't hang on. You have a look there at Jack White and just got up in front of everyone, which allowed Hughes to come back in field. And he scores under the posts. Too good.
And again, off the back of all that pressure, the repeat sets haven't done a lot wrong. The Raiders have just been a couple of unlucky touches, which have been called knock-ons, and possession for the Melbourne Storm in situations not of the Canberra Raiders doing as far as yardage sets where they put down a ball as they did last week up there in Mudgee against the Seagulls. Jack White on the other side of the field there, similar situation, just an awful one to try and handle the bomb. Coates was a legal blocker, if you like. Nickel Klugstar couldn't get to it. White in the scramble knocked it on, gives it back to Melbourne, and here they are. Suddenly it's 10 points to 2, about to be 12 to 2.
And you've got to give him a rap too. Josh King, the number 13 for the Melbourne Storm, has forced his way into this starting pack. Former player from Newcastle. He was a man able to just spin around the tackle and offload. That put him on the front foot there for the try to be able to be scored. And with all that possession, they score again. Here's Pappenhausen.
They grab the first 2 tries of the game. Ryan Pappenhausen converts from right in front. And it's 12 points to 2. Watch it again as Grant jumps out from dummy half. Bromwich and King combining. Then the quick hands away to Jerome Hughes from Harry Grant, who was there to back up as well, having done the service from dummy half. And Hughes, he is the will of the wisp, isn't he? He can find space where it doesn't exist at times and go on long breaks from deep inside their own territory when they're battling at different stages of games. He can do it all. We're back underway. Adelaide United applying the restart, taken by the try scoring himself, and it's Josh King to play it here for Melbourne. See if the Raiders can force a mistake and apply a bit of pressure at this end of the field. Corey Horsburgh is out there now. Another offload here from Justin Olam. Brandon Smith, and that style of his, bouncing off defenders. He's made of rubber. He's a urethane lock forward. He plays it here 20 short of the halfway line. It's Munster dummying, has Pappenhausen back on the inside. The pass is good. Munster carves open the Raiders. Pappenhausen has his 7th of the season.
Well, don't you like 5'8" that run at the line and bust tackles like this guy? Munster straight through. And as soon as he went through, you could see Pappenhausen just sniff it out straight away. Here's the run, show and go, gets on the outside, pushes away. Pappenhausen back on the inside, just sniffs it out. Once he got the footy, that was all over. And that's what they do to you, the Melbourne Storm. Start to tick over the scoreboard. The Raiders, really, you wouldn't say has played that bad, but it'll be 18-2 here. They just make a break and they just make you pay. And look at him in full flight. Any better side in the game than that? Once he got the football, it was all over.
Off the back of last week, where they were outplayed by the kicking game of Daly Cherry Evans in Mudgee, Canberra here just being pulled apart by so many of these Melbourne Storm stars. It began with the run of Brandon Smith, bounced off defenders, and then on the quick play the ball, as he always supplies, comes to the left-hand side, and Munster picked out Tom Starling, and that was a bit of a mismatch for the dummy half of the Raiders. As big and as mobile as Munster is, was able to blow past him pretty comfortably there, and then, well, it's all over when this fella looms up on the inside, isn't it?
Yep, and you only have to have a look at the territory now. 67% to the Melbourne Storm.
It's all Melbourne. After Canberra scored the first points of the game, they go back to back here pretty quickly. Watch it again. Munster runs to Starling, just too strong for him. The fend on Horsburgh, and all he had to do was draw and pass. And Pappenhausen and the Flying Mullet run away for yet another 4-pointer, Jake Duke.
Yeah, Ryan Pappenhausen, he scored 28 points last week in that 44-0 win over the Bulldogs, the most he's ever scored in a game. Already today, he's up to 10 points with a try and 3 conversions. So that's an ominous warning for the Raiders, the way he's playing in the form he's in. And obviously Cameron Munster, he's that last piece of that Melbourne puzzle, still off contract. They're trying to lock him down. Suggestions of a pay cut. The Dolphins circling, but he showed his value to this side right there.
Yeah, hard to imagine that he would be taking a pay cut, but the stories have been emanating out of Melbourne now for some time, that given, of course, they've just re-signed in the past week and a half the likes of Jerome Hughes, Xavier Coates and Harry Grant. And here they come again. Pappenhausen was there. Bromwich stopped by Valame, but Grant jumps out of dummy half. He's got Pappenhausen with him down the short side. Harawira-Naidoo is there to stop the Melbourne hooker, who is slowly back to his feet. Shoving the head for his trouble, did Harry Grant. Now Munster showing it, taking on Horsburgh again. Whitehead, he beat him back on the inside. Whiten there also to help out in the tackle. Last play, it's Hughes, who puts it up, an end-over-end kick. Nickel Klugstar camped underneath it, makes a good catch. He's got Rapana, who had that early problem with his neck. Linking in here, Valame, they'll hold him up. They had visions of holding him up and getting him to the sideline. You can see Melbourne feeding in there through Meaney and also Kenny Bromwich. Their intentions were clear.
And then Olam coming in to add his weight to it too. What about a performance from Melbourne after they've been under the pump a little bit earlier in the game? 13 from 14 completion. They don't give you anything.
Chotrich here, try and wrap him up. Slow play the ball, must have been treading a fine line there, Melbourne. Now Whiten to Moko, numbers down the short side. Whitehead on the wing because Chotrich took the previous carry midfield. So Big Elliott out there on the wing. The ball comes free and it's been ripped out by Melbourne. Quick tap taken by Whiten. Play on is the call. Was there a player offside there who made that tackle in Remus Smith? We might come back to that. Chotrich it is. 5 metres out from the Melbourne line. They need something and quickly. Horsburgh at the line. Papali'i here. Olam was up quickly. He put King under pressure. Likewise, Kenny Bromwich, but they were able to hit and stick. Starling goes to Schneider. Nickel Klugstar, quick hands attempted by Rapana. He knocks it on, and Melbourne hang on.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a forced pass there by Rapana. Almost an impossible ball to get away. Now here's the penalty. And the quick tap. Whitehead found himself out on the wing there. They scrambled pretty well that time, Melbourne. They get the penalty, take the quick tap. Is there a man offside? But anyway, we go to this play here. Rapana just trying to squeeze out the impossible pass. There was no room there. They turn over the ball again.
They had the numbers, didn't they, on this left-hand side, Melbourne. And Rapana trying to catch and pass. It was a almost impossible task for him. Melbourne through Remus Smith. A few times in the game they've had to work it away from inside their own 20 other than off the back of points. 3 tries they've scored so far in the game. 1 to Harry Grant, 1 to Jerome Hughes, and 1 to Ryan Pappenhausen. It's Smith to play it. Grant comes to King. Flat pass there. Schneider was in the face there of Kenny Bromwich. He was able to hang on to it though. Here is King, doubling up on his work. Took the previous run as well before he linked up. And now Hughes, under pressure there from Horsburgh. Harry Grant, they've lost their way badly here. Jesse Bromwich knocked it on. And they'll turn it over here. Canberra will get a chance from the halfway line.
Well, that's a little bit better there from the Raiders. They didn't wait and ball watch what the Melbourne Storm were doing. It's a great win for them too, the turnover. They couldn't get to their kick that time, Melbourne.
Well, it was Horsburgh's effort, and here he is taking the carry. He came out and put the pressure on Jerome Hughes, forced him to step back on the inside, and after that, they were all at sea. Canberra. From just outside the 30, Starling waiting for the play of the ball from Sutton. Schneider will link up with Wyden, going to the line to Moko with room to move. And he lost it eventually in the tackle. They just can't get through a set at this end of the field once they get themselves some good field position.
Yeah, they just drop off, don't they? The back end of sets, the Canberra Raiders just can't finish it off and put any pressure on the Melbourne Storm. The last couple of sets, just trying to force the ball. That time it was a lost ball. Just turn over the ball. You can't afford to give a good side the ball back like that, not without competing or completing. At the back end of your sets, they haven't been able to do it, the Raiders.
Yeah, good news for the Storm boys. Nelson Asafa-Solomona has passed his HIA. He's about to come back into this game.
Thank you, Jake, as Olam works it away here for Melbourne from the scrum win inside their own 20. Offload there late in the tackle as well. Harry Grant, look at him duck under tackles. He's a limbo specialist. You wouldn't beat him at a party on a Saturday night going into the broomstick. Now Meany, just short of the halfway line. It's limbo time. Asafa-Solomona, there he is on cue, back on deck. Still going is Big Nelson. He'll pinch an extra 10 metres or so. They'll take 4 or 5 to stop him, in fact. Eventually, it was Hadawid United over the top who was able to take him down. Then a little face in the handle, the old facial massage from Corey Hadawid United. At times, he's such a good player blocker, he just can't help himself.
Yeah, he's just lost it there. And that was a great run from Big Asafa. He's just come on the field. You just can't put him on the ground. That's the problem. Once they get him on the ground, as you said, the hand on the face, that wouldn't hurt a fly. Fair dinkum. Honestly. Why would you do it?
It's been an old-fashioned thing that's been rubbed out for a long time now as far as the referees are concerned. And there's just a little bit of niggle with Hadawid United, which sometimes hurts himself and also his team. So a full set again for Melbourne. You know what they've been able to produce so far in this situation. Munster in the middle of the field comes away to Josh King. I'll play it 10 metres out from the Raiders line. Grant for Hughes. Numbers out in this left-hand side. Smith is one of them on the angle there. Tries to get to the outside shoulder of Schneider. He'll wrap him up only a couple of metres away. Pappenhausen looking to spin his way in. He went very close. The mullet's on the line. Not the ball, though. He'll play it eventually for Smith. Fires a wild, long pass. Hughes has to clean it up. Nothing doing there. So the halfback will take a tackle just outside the Raiders' 10. Last play here for Melbourne. Goes to Munster. Tries to hook it back into the breeze. Coates is storming onto it. He went very, very early. Didn't get near the contest, in fact. And Canberra will bring it out for a restart from their own 20 through Chottridge.
Yeah, that was a little bit better there from the Raiders at the back. Chottridge there takes the footy, sprints up and tries to get on with the game. Tried to play that up-tempo game, the Canberra Raiders, so far in this first half. Just haven't been able to complete properly at the back end of sets.
Well, they were getting blown out of the game a couple of weeks ago, of course, against the Gold Coast Titans at home. Similar scoreline. In fact, they were more in arrears against the Gold Coast than they are here against Melbourne. And they scored late in the half to give themselves a bit of a boost. We'll see what they can offer here. Try just before the break. Might be exactly what they need heading to the sheds. Tarpany stopped by Josh King around the bootlaces. Different prospect, quite obviously, playing Melbourne, but here's a chance. Whitehead out there on that left-hand side again. He'll take it to ground. About 15 out. He's staying on the ground, in fact. Plays it eventually. Clutches his head. Coming out of the line quickly. Munster put pressure on Schneider again. Tarpany. Nickel Klukstad. Rapana. Hadawid United. Valemay for the corner. He gets there with the second effort. Pappenhausen and Smith, they came at him with everything they had, and they stopped him initially, but dropped off on the tackle, and Valemay was able to reach out and plant it.
Oh, what an effort there. I know if he scored here, it's a good try. He showed great strength, but what about the effort from Pappenhausen? Both sides of the ball, whether it's attack or defence, puts his body on the line here. They got caught for numbers past the post here. Just this time, the quick hands from the Canberra Raiders. They go through the end. It was Munster that come up and tried to make the ball and all tackle on Schneider, as they've tried to put the pressure on him all game so far in the first half. And just the catching and passing.
So looking at the situation here, I wanted to check if there was a high tackle
on
there.
Brad Schneider is incidental.
Nothing doing as far as the Munster effort on Schneider. Play on to this point. Great hands on the extremities from Rapana and also Hadawida Naida. Coming across here, both Pappenhausen and Smith drop off on the tackle, and Valamay reaches out.
Just confirming that Semi Valamay's broken this tackle.
Gets the ball down by the looks of things.
Geez, it was some sort of effort. They just spun him out of the tackle there.
Tackle is not complete. He's free to play on.
Tackle's not complete. Does he dive over? Oh, hang on. Did he get the ball down?
Oh, I think he gets it down just before it comes through with the force of planting it down with his left hand. It wasn't a classical put down by any stretch.
Has he put the ball down on his left arm here?
Puts it down there. I'm happy that he's got contact with the ball and his left hand slides down the side of the ball with the ball hitting the turf.
Valamay has grounded the ball in goal. We have a decision.
I'm going to go green lights. I think the bucket is going to go in the same direction. Semi Valamay scores for Canberra, and as we were talking, as they did against the Gold Coast a couple of weeks ago, they were well behind in that game. They score late in the first half to give them a bit of a lift.
Yeah, they needed that, didn't they? This time the ball stuck. That was a good thing. You see where Ryan Pappenhausen came from, but Valamay does so well. Just bounces out of the tackle, gets a little bit of the chalk on the ball there. The Raiders, didn't they need that? Make the scoreline look a little bit more respectable.
And just a bit of breaking news in that contact there, Blocker. You see Ryan Pappenhausen kind of grabbing his head there. He had a bit of friendly fire from Brandon Smith in that collision. He has come off for a HIA, so that's a tough one for the Storm. They'll be without him at least until the second half.
And of course, considering that he's past history over especially in 2021 season, and all the drama with concussions, and set out a number of games, a couple of different stages for the Melbourne Storm, and it took him some time to get going again towards the back end of the season once he was able to rejoin the field of play off the back of those concussions. Schneider with the breeze, helping this kick, bending it between the posts. They're back. It's 18-8. 10 is the difference. 6 out from halftime here in Wagga.
Yeah, well, finally the ball is stuck here for the Canberra Rays. They had any ample opportunity, especially on that left-hand side. This time, it's the right-hand side. Valamay just gets the bumper bars up, bounces out of the tackle, and gets enough ball over the line or on the chalk. There's Pappenhausen on the sideline now. You're looking up to see how long before half-time. We won't see him again until the second half.
At the earliest. So there is Cameron Munster with the restart. It's an awkward one to handle. He's perfected those reverse spiral kicks off the kickoffs, and good catch there made by Jack Whiten. It's Horsburgh to play it here, and still plenty of time for Canberra. Put a bit more pressure here on Melbourne without their talisman. Ryan Pappenhausen out of the game for the moment with an HIA. And Regula is out there for Ricky Stewart now, and Tom Starling off the back of it goes a long way right through the middle of the Melbourne defence, gets up to go again. They can't stop him. Rapana is there looking for an offload, takes the tackle of Olam. Quick play the ball. It goes to Tarpany. Oh, it had to go to Whiten. They had numbers. It was 4 against 2 on the left edge. Now they go there. Whiten, Nickel Klugstar, Tomoko spinning. He's gone close, but the ball went there a tackle too late.
Yeah, well, the ball went dead once he got it. That time, I think it was Tarpany that got the football. It should have shoveled out, but a great break there from Starling at the back end of the half. They had to scramble well there, the Melbourne Storm. And that's good showing after points too. That was a great set from the Raiders.
Well, they got there, but it had to be off the back of the incision they'd made right through the middle of the field. They had Melbourne scrambling. All the defence was sucked towards the middle of the field. Now Matt Tomoko trying to spin his way towards the try line there. Has got up with potentially a knee or an ankle problem by the looks of things, and he's very uncomfortable, it has to be said, out there on the far left-hand side of the field. See if Melbourne can exploit him in the defensive line as they work it away from their own end. Just getting to their kick might be the first priority here, as deep in the field as they are at the moment. With a resurgent Canberra asking questions here at the back end of the first half. Smith, off the back of the Remus Smith, play the ball. Trent Liero is out there, plays it for Brandon Smith, turns Asava Solomona back on the inside. They were flat-footed in the middle of the field there, the Raiders' big men, Horsburgh and Gula. And big metres for Asava Solomona. Munster, with a more regulation kick this time, allowed to bounce by Chotridge. Nickel Klugstar says, I want you just on my hip here. He takes the tackle instead. Canberra begin this set in pretty good field position, remembering they have the breeze in this first half.
Yeah, and they've got to show a little bit of energy here to finish off this half. They've looked good when they've tried to attack. I know they've made a few errors, but no good going one out against the Melbourne Storm.
Valame, good ball in the offload there. Hadawin United does well up against the edge of the cliff. Schneider looking for an option. Rapana staying alive. And he'll go to dummy half here. They're just outside the Melbourne 30. Big metres coming for Canberra in these last few sets. Nickel Klugstar, Whitehead catch and pass. That was forward. They knew where they had to go. Perhaps they'd learnt their lesson off the previous set when they went left a tackle too late. And Whitehead's effort just forward out of the hands.
Yeah, it's a good footy there by the Canberra Raiders here to finish off the half. They had to keep playing. As I mentioned, you don't go one out against the Melbourne Storm. Whitehead, he knew exactly what he had to do, but Tomoko had overrun the ball. Melbourne will finish off the half. There'll be another set, I suppose, too. The Canberra Raiders, but Melbourne will get in good field position from this set if they don't make a mistake.
17 from 19, the Melbourne Storm. Impressive in drizzly conditions now, which have been in effect for the majority of this first half here in Wagga Wagga. Second week in a row, the Raiders have gone to the country. Didn't work out for them in Mudgee last week. They've got themselves back a fighting chance in this game off the back of the try scored by Semi Valame. Smith out there at dummy half for Harry Grant. Here's Liero. Well stopped though, an advancing defensive line from Canberra there, led by Horsburgh and Gula. Hughes comes out the back here for Grant. They switch roles, both he and Smith, for the moment. Grant will get the dummy half here on this left-hand side of the field. It's quite the 1-2 punch they bring to the table. Asava Solomona comes to Horsburgh. Starling under pressure there again. Tarpany helps out. Melbourne have one more. Brandon Smith feeds it for Cameron Munster. He goes to the air, hanging there for Coates, who timed his leap better this time. Gave it to Remus Smith. He tried to kick it after just catching it. Couldn't do so. And Canberra might get the last shot at them in this first half.
Well, he's some sort of target, isn't he? He's a good player. Xavier Coates, the ball goes up high. He's always a chance. Mistimed his run or his jump a couple of times in this first half, but always a danger. Puts pressure on. The Raiders will finish off the half with the ball here.
Here's a shift by the Raiders. Rapana now, Nickel Klugstar. Hadawin United again. Playing outside Jordan Rapana a couple of times now down this right-hand side for Canberra, and they've picked up the best part of 25 metres on that play to get out of trouble. Schneider, big shift back to the left-hand side. If you can't go through them, it looks like the theory suddenly for Canberra is we'll go around them. It's working, just can't quite finish it off.
Yeah, it is. They're playing some good open football, but
here they go again.
It's let him down a couple of times.
Nickel Klugstar. They'll play it at the halfway line. 2 plays remaining in this set. Tarpany now offload. Nickel Klugstar. Valame off the shoulder there of Nick Meaney. Stopped in the inside by Trent Liero. Good cover defence from the forward. Last play at the 30. It's not a great pass for Schneider. Whiten was offside. He'll need to drop off on the effort. He does so. Munster is back there at fullback at the moment for Ryan Pappenhausen, with Harry Grant playing as the 5/8 on this left-hand side of the field. He'll play it there, Munster, at their own 10. And they'll just work it away, you'd imagine, without incident for one more play here as Grant gets to dummy half. Asava Solomona leaping his way towards the Raiders defence. And that will do us in the opening 40 here in Wagga Wagga this afternoon. First of 3 games live on Fox League on Super Saturday. And at the break, it's Melbourne 18 who lead the Canberra Raiders 8. Corey Hattaway gets us underway for the second half. Melbourne will have the breeze at their backs in this second half. A bit of drizzle in the first 40 minutes. Didn't stop Melbourne from using the ball to good effect and all the pressure they had at the northern end of the field. They'll defend it here in this second half. Kenny Bromwich shuffling run as he brings it out just beyond the Melbourne 20. Harry Grant from dummy half goes across to Asava Solomona, who had Whitehead tumbling backwards out of the collision. Hughes very quickly to Remus Smith, and then coming across. Big effort from Elliot Whitehead, third man into that tackle. The Melbourne Storm players didn't like what they saw, but play on, said the referee.
Well, it's good they get on the back there of Solomona there with that big charge to start the second half.
Now a shift goes through Bromwich away to Olam. Tries to bounce away there from the tackle of Valame. Boy, they came together. Hear that very clearly through our effects microphones as Munster puts it in the air to try and judge the breeze in this second half, and not judging the tap back all that well was Asava Solomona. He got it over the net if he was playing volleyball, but it doesn't work in rugby league.
Well, I'm interested to see the attitude to start this second half from the Melbourne Storm. Craig Bellamy wouldn't have been able to wait to get them in there. As I mentioned, 15 missed tackles from the Melbourne Storm in the first half. That's unheard of. Let's see their attitude now.
Here's Hattaway to play it for Canberra. We'll get into Jake Duke, who's got some injury news for the Raiders, Jake.
Yeah, blow for the Raiders was Matthew Tomoko. He copped some knees in the back. He is out of this game, and that now presents an interesting opportunity. Maybe it's the time for Jared Croker to be recalled into this Raiders side if Tomoko is out next week. We saw Jared Croker play reserve grade here a little bit earlier for the Raiders, and he said after that game, speaking to him, I'm ready to go whenever they need me. He's played 291 games for the club, 9 away from 300, and maybe he gets his chance next week if their Tomoko concern is a bad one.
Here is Xavier Coates coming forward, knocks it on. Canberra have got 6 more plays coming up from close range, so a blow with Matt Tomoko out of the Raiders lineup, but a boost here with Schneider's kick under pressure with Liero coming out towards him. Starling got there, played the spoiler role on Coates, and the big winger put it down.
Yeah, that was great play there from Tom Starling, a much smaller man. And we've already mentioned how good Coates is under the high ball, but not that time. Here's a chance now, right in the middle of the park for the Canberra Raiders to start this second half. 10 out. They've forced the error. They finished off the half so well in that first half. Let's see what they can come up with.
And it's Starling off the back of the scrum win. Schneider looking back on the inside of Munster. Some help there from the scrum as Liero was able to break pretty quickly. And they'll play it here, 5 out from the Melbourne line. Starling goes to Horsburgh on the angle. Not too much of a threat there for Asava Solomona nor Harry Grant. They leave Grant one-on-one there with Horsburgh. That was taking a risk. Now White, an awful ball for Whitehead, who has knocked it on. That wasn't a good pass. Too much there for the Englishman to do on that one that was down around his knees, and what a chance blown early in the second half by Canberra.
Gee, I don't know whether he lost his mind on the way through there, Jack White, and whether he was going to pass out the back. Hits the front man. And the skipper isn't happy in Elliot Whitehead.
Wait for the break call.
And that's what they do to you, Melbourne. They pressure you with their defence, the speed of their line, put the pressure on you to make the pass. And that was not a good one there from Jack Whiten.
The rain gets a little heavier here in Wagga Wagga as we speak. As Melbourne work it away. Got to say, after all the rain we've had in Sydney, where we're based, Blocker, and just record after record of historic rainfall and all the dramas with floods, it was incredible to come into Wagga today and see fairly dryish conditions given the lush green grass of Sydney and environs along the coast in recent times. Here is Asava Solomona. There's left-hand side, Josh King. And the rain getting heavier still at McDonald's Park. Grant from dummy half. Kicks from well inside the 40. Awkward one to handle there for Chotrich. That was a good catch on the bounce. He could have easily knocked that on, but took the odds to it. Backed himself and won. And it wasn't a great kick from Grant nor Melbourne. The coach a little bit animated beside us in the box beside our position here in the grandstand blocker, and you can see why. Here are the Raiders on the attack. Just inside the 30 now. Chotrich trying to weave in traffic. Grabbed there by Asava Solomona. Starling, Horsburgh, Schneider. Little double pump. Olam did very well though, jamming in. Stopped it going any further as it came to Nickel Klukstar. Schneider, rubbering, wants a good bounce here. It sits up. It had to be played at by Munster. He had to take it dead with Valame hot on his heels.
Yeah, it's a good start to the second half here from the Canberra Raiders. Plenty of energy. The kick on the fourth tackle there. Munster has to play at the ball. They just need that try, don't they? They give them that lift. I think Jack Whiten's the man. Needs to run the ball at the line. If you have a look at it, Munster on the other side has had 7 runs. Jack Whiten with 5.
Well, Ryan Pappenhausen starts on the field of play side, goes into the in goal, then hooks it around, looking for Xavier Coates. They've done that a lot so far this season, Melbourne, with the short one for Xavier Coates. A bit too much mustard on that one from Pappenhausen. Nickel Klukstar, flat, out the back for Starling. Here is Schneider. Chance there, and he put it through the hands with Rapana playing at centre with Valame on his outside, and Cameron Munster, the pickpocket extraordinaire, comes up with one here for Melbourne.
And wins a penalty too. The one-on-one steal on Schneider there. They all drop off the tackle. He tells him to drop off. Bromwich in there, drops off the tackle, wins the ball off Schneider. And then a little bit of rough play over the top there from Rapana. Melbourne get the penalty.
A little bit of the old bull and the young bull there, wasn't it, with Munster? The experience just summed it up beautifully. Everyone knew what they were doing. Kenny Bromwich said, I'll drop off. Munster ripped it away from Schneider.
Been up in the Raiders half so far in the second half. It's only early, but second tackle, they'll get in the half of the Raiders.
You'd imagine with the rain falling here and Melbourne not performing to Craig Bellamy's liking either side of half-time, they'll revert to type and they might just bang the drum right through the middle to get themselves into some field position here before they try and put anything on. They've done exactly that the first few plays in this set of 6. Now Munster, a bit of width, comes back to the middle though. Avoids going to Olam. Nick Meaney on his outside. Plays it here, slow play the ball. Jesse Bromwich for Hughes. Pappenhausen, good hand. Or let go by Remus Smith. Coates does well to go back. Well, the pass was there for Remus Smith, but he thought it was going to Coates instead, and as a result, they lose all momentum. Last play from the sideline. Hadawita-Naida out to meet Hughes on the kick. Nickel Klukstar flying, loses it. It'll be a knock-on against Canberra.
Oh, there's the chance they need. Klukstar at the back. And the pressure put on by the Melbourne Storm here. Pappenhausen it is that puts up the challenge, gets in front of him. And there's the knock-on.
Well, the pressure again. They make a contest of it and Melbourne get the result.
See, this could be the difference. The Canberra Raiders to start the second half were planted on Melbourne Storm's line. They couldn't come away with any points. I think the Melbourne Storm might make them pay here. First time they've been down here.
Emre Gula and Josh King exchanging pleasantries on the far side of the scrum. Harry Grant for Cameron Munster. Comes here to Justin Olam from close range. Stop him if you can. What an absolute wrecking ball. All the way from Papua New Guinea.
You know what's amazing about that, Warren, is that's 0 tackle from the scrum base. Get the ball to Olam. And he took off. I think he was thinking about passing the ball on the outside here to Meaney. He didn't have to. They backed off. Gets on the outside of his man. Look at the strength of this bloke. From the scrum base, 0 tackle. And that's the difference between the two teams. They were camped down to start the second half. The Canberra Raiders couldn't score. A little bit straight and direct running here from Olam. They backed off him. That's the problem. Olam spins out. And he starts the scoring in the second half here for the Melbourne Storm.
Oh, Munster celebrates with him. It's very tough as Munster goes to the line and then just angles away. And coming in, Valemei just has to get involved in the play. He just can't take the chance that they're going to get beaten on the outside on his inside shoulder, and opens up a little bit of space there for this man, Oliver. Unless you get him squarely with a really good bump first up, he's going to beat that first up tackle.
And it's easier said than done too. You've got to try and dictate to Olam. You can't back off like that because he'll just eat up the yards. And if you're on the back foot and you try to make a tackle on him, it is impossible. You can't make the tackle doing that way. You've got to get up and try and get in his face. If you back off, that's exactly what happens.
The combination of Cameron Munster, Justin Olam scoring his first try of the season. Last of the backline members to chalk up a 4-pointer this year, and now Pappenhausen, after the HIA in the first half, given the green light to return for this second 40. Stems the flow. Momentum was going the way of Canberra, but it's Melbourne who score first in their second half. 10 of it gone. Watch it again as Munster just goes towards the inside shoulder of Schneider. He has to stay with him, and then he angles away from him, which has to get Valemei interested because he just thinks, well, Munster's going to beat Schneider on the outside. I've got to just hedge my bets here. Yeah. When the pass goes to that man, Olam, and he's got just that little outside line to run at. Well, it's all over from there.
It's been the difference, hasn't it? Because the Canberra Raiders have tried to go on side to side, whereas the Melbourne Storm go through you.
Don't forget, Ampol State of Origin tickets are now on sale. Be there live to witness Australia's greatest sporting rivalry in Sydney, Perth and Brisbane. And as you would expect, tickets are selling very quickly. Go to nrl.com/tickets to be there at Origin. If you've never been before, you must go. One of the great sporting experiences of the world.
Especially if you get a trip to Perth.
That is an added bonus. It's Melbourne 24, Canberra 8. A number of the players here today will be in those fixtures. Quite a few of them Queenslanders. One of them here at dummy half. Links up with another one of them, Cameron Munster. Takes it across the halfway line. One more play here for Melbourne in this set off the back of points. Grant comes back for Jerome Hughes to put it in the air. They're all pouring through. Pappenhausen is there backing away. Nickel Klukstar this time stays on the ground and makes a good catch. Canberra, though, have to work it away from their own 10. And Jack Whiten, another pass which wasn't quite on the money there, put Chotrich under all sorts of pressure. Here's Nickel Klukstar to take the next carry.
Yeah, they've got to find something, haven't they? The Canberra Raiders, they look a little bit bunched at the moment for mine.
Whitehead had a chance there off the back of Whiten's work to link up with Chotrich, but he hangs on to it. Starling at dummy half. Horsburgh comes back to this near side, dumps it out the back. They're still taking chances, Canberra. Guess they figure they can't die wondering now at 24 points to wait with 28 minutes remaining. Tarpany out the back, Starling. Bromwich was right there in his face. The smallest player on the field will take the tackle there. One more for Canberra. Goes back to Whiten. He puts it up. Coates says it's all mine. He's good to his word as well, and stopped there just outside his own 10. They're back in charge here, Melbourne. And in this situation, they can just suffocate teams.
Yeah, the big thing is, and that was the difference in the first half, there's some good front on the fence there from the Raiders. They were able to score back-to-back tries in that 5-minute period. They've got to try and hang on here defensively, the Raiders.
The rain getting heavier still here in Wagga Wagga, and Nick Meaney earning himself a penalty with Brad Schneider blowing up about the call of the referee saying you had to get off him quicker than you did.
And that doesn't help. Late in the tackle count, Melbourne getting a penalty on their 20-metre line.
Got to say, I mean, it did seem to be a quick call. Schneider wins that effort. He's got the Meaney going back towards his own line and on the flat of his back. So it's maybe not a dominant tackle, but certainly a tackle that Schneider had won, and he was trying to get up. Might have been a tough call against the young halfback.
Yeah, and boys, Josh Papali'i is about to come back into this game. His first stint out there was only 29 minutes, but he only had 32 metres. Last week in the entire game against the Seagulls, he only ran for 49 metres, and the Raiders, they have the fewest metres of any team in the competition so far to start this year, so they will need the big fella firing if they're to get back into this one.
See what he offers when he gets back out there. Munster here, ankle tap there by Schneider.
Straight now, Adam.
Just inside the 40. Here's King. Takes towards both Gula and also Starling underneath him. Grant out of dummy half, gets them on the front foot so quickly. Pappenhausen going with Olam, gave Olam a chance. The pass was just a little bit behind him on the shoulder. Pappenhausen would like that one back, and as a result, it's Canberra to begin here inside their own 20.
Well, Warren, sometimes you've got to take the tackle. He just ran Olam out of room there. Just tried to get on the outside of his man, Pappenhausen there. Just squeezed the pass. That's why the knock-on was occurred.
Oh, boy, Whitehead got crunched here by Remus Smith. One of those situations where Whitehead just spun into the contact with Smith working hard from the inside. And he was down fairly low when Smith made contact with him. It's going to be a penalty all the same against Melbourne.
He just caught the point of the shoulder there.
Remus Smith knew instantly that he was corkscrewing his way into the ground and getting lower as he did, Elliott Whitehead, and you can see him dropping pretty quickly there. So while it's an obvious penalty,
it's an accident.
Anything more for Remus Smith to worry about beyond that?
No, I don't think so. He's got to go in hard over the top. Whitehead looks like he's going to leave the field here for HIA.
So Remus Smith placed on report. This will be interesting because Whitehead, of course, today playing on this left edge with Hudson Young out of the side. So it'll be a chance to get a fresh forward out there. Ryan Sutton looks as though it's going to be the change. And that'll force a change again for the Raiders. You can't imagine you'd want Sutton playing on the edge. He's a very good middle forward. We'll wait and see what they do as far as this left-hand side of the field is concerned. They already has, of course, Hadawid and Knight are playing at left centre for the absent Matt Tomoko, who's out with a back injury. So they're missing both of their edge forwards now. It's the first of them. Hadawid and Knight are making the tap. Schneider comes across. Adam Elliott is out there. Elliott playing on that right-hand side of the field. And Sutton is, in fact, going to take up a position just on the outside, inside, rather, of Corey Hadawid and Knight. So maybe a chance for Melbourne to come to this right-hand side and exploit that mismatch potentially speed-wise. Here's Schneider. White now back on the inside. They're 30 out from the Melbourne line. Starling waits at dummy half. Papali'i is also back out there. Schneider, Nickel Klukstar, cat-out ball. Here is Hadawid and Nida. He's certainly agile enough to be playing in the centres, isn't he? It's Nickel Klukstar, Schneider, Horsburgh for Starling. They go from edge to edge, back to the middle. Starling gets a late offload away. It comes back here for Gula.
You can't get advantage, mate. You run round behind the bloke, then you offload and you're going to keep playing.
And then the call is that Tom Starling went in behind a Canberra Raider player and offloaded. He had to take the tackle, otherwise it was going to be obstruction, which it subsequently was called by the referee.
Yeah, pretty hard when you get your arms free like that. Starling, the second man play.
Next line.
Melbourne have had a couple of piggybacks out of their own half quite comfortably here early in the tackle counts. You get that penalty there.
So Olam here at the halfway line. A bit unlucky there, Tom Starling, as it turned out, given what we saw in the replay. It's Melbourne here on the attack. Grant at a dummy half. Look at him just dance his way into the backfield. Feigned a pass and then did a bit of a dipsy doodle and turned Gula inside out. Picks up big metres. Jesse Bromwich for Hughes. Josh King back on the inside here. Oh, around the knees there or thereabouts was Papali'i. It must have been just above the knees. King is okay. Gets up, flexing that right leg all the same. Pappenhausen, pass goes to ground. Cleaned up by Whiten, or he thought he had cleaned it up.
First one, Melbourne.
It's going to be a knock-on against Melbourne all the same.
Yeah,
so Canberra will still get it, but boy, there was a half a chance there for Whiten.
Yeah, just tried to get on with it, didn't he? And the ball hitting one of the Melbourne decoy runners there in the back. Whiten couldn't clean up, but he'll get the first knock on and get the ball back. Just got this unbelievable ability, hasn't he, Harry Grant, of ducking under tackles, and off he goes. Got good footwork. He's been outstanding here this afternoon for Melbourne.
From the back of the scrum, it is Rapana here, standing in the tackle of the Bromwich brothers, Incorporated. Starling at dummy half to that right-hand side where Elliott bustling onto it, takes the carry. Starling looking for another forward here. He finds Horsburgh. A little shuffle as he came towards Kenny Bromwich. The arms went up for Canberra. They thought there was high contact there. There was a touch by Harry Grant on the ball. So they do get 6 more anyway, the Raiders here. Not for the reason they thought of the high contact in their appeal. Papali'i. Here's White and out the back. Nickel Klugstad. Look at him move in space. It goes to Hannah and Knight. The pass was poor again from Nickel Klugstad.
Well, gee, they've created a number of opportunities, haven't they, the Raiders, in this game of footy, but sleight of hand and the ball, the passing, that was a pretty ordinary one there. Harawira Knight up from Klugstad hasn't had a great afternoon. They've created chances, but just execution hasn't been there for them.
What a chance that was. Undid the Melbourne right edge defence. A number of times that they've gone to this side of the field in both halves, the left edge of Canberra's attack, and really opened something up. Now Munster it is. Now wait for Pappenhausen at dummy half. And it comes to Kaufusi. Whiten up out of the line very quickly. He's as big as a back rower, and he was able to hit and stick there with Felice Kaufusi. Taking a real chance here, though, trying to work him over the top. Tapai Moiroa is on deck for Melbourne. It's his first carry here. We'll play it for Grant. McDonald runs a decoy. Jesse Bromwich is there. Munster trying to hurdle away from the tackles. Grant, Hughes. Oh, Whiten came out of the line again. Look at Hughes, though. Stay on his feet, absorb the impact. In fact, Whiten might have been the one who came out at that the worst for wear. He might have been dazed, Jack Whiten. He is a bit sick. Here's Jesse Bromwich. Munster will kick in behind them. A kick for Nick Mooney. Only wants a bouncer. He had a chance, but he couldn't clean it up.
Gee, if the bounce had been right, Mooney was on fire, was he? He was flying down that left-hand side. Just the bounce of the ball didn't favour him. Good tactics there from Melbourne to kick in behind.
It's not just you, mate.
Boy, Canberra needed that. They were down a man because Jack Whiten back here is on his haunches, and he is coming from the field in a moment for what we saw there. They'll try and give him the standing 8. Well, they're going to say thumbs up. I don't know about that because here he is again. He was sick and sorry after that contact there with Jerome Hughes. And they're going to say for the moment he's okay. Maybe he was just winded and nothing else.
Well, he's trying to spark something here for the Raiders with his defence. They need something here from Adam Elliott, who's just gone on the field only minutes ago for the Canberra Raiders. You need that bit of spark off the bench. They're looking a little bit flat at the moment.
Starling screaming at Papali'i for a quicker play the ball. Horsburgh, he finds White. Back on his feet. Sutton pouring into a hole. Xavier Coates jamming in. Came up empty there. Sutton was almost away and streaming towards the line from Starling, Schneider, Papali'i. Munster going backwards. Olam this time on the outside. On the left edge was up and out of the line. Starling to the short side. Here's Schneider, cut out ball. They had to wait for it. The pass has been rolled forward to Nickel Klugstad.
I'll tell you what's a little bit of a worry for the Melbourne Storm, their right-hand defence. They've let through a number of breaks here from the Raiders, but they just haven't been able to finish the breaks off. The idea was right there by Schneider, the pass over the top, gone forward.
Well, they've created some chances. Their finishing has just left a little bit to be desired, quite obviously. Canberra, Nickel Klugstad there. I think he'd resigned himself to the fact that that was going to be called forward. the pass to him, but on the left-hand side and then back on the right-hand side, they unpicked Melbourne pretty comfortably.
Yeah, they did. As you said, they've created a number of opportunities, but just executions really let them down. 24-8. The Canberra Raiders are doing a little bit tough at the moment.
In our pre-game show, the boys talking to Ricky Stewart. He said, we can't keep shooting ourselves in the foot. And unfortunately, their completion rate again today, 19 from 31. They've shot themselves in the foot a couple of times, and they've had very good chances building inside the Melbourne 20. Just inside 17 remaining. 16 points the difference. Munster spinning away from that left-hand side. Comes back to the middle where Horsburgh's wrap him up. Sutton is also there with Papali'i. He'll stay on his feet though. Grant jumps out of dummy half and he just gets his team across the advantage line so quickly, and the result is a quick play the ball like that for Jesse Bromwich. Pappenhausen kicks, nobody pouring onto it. Meany nor Olam realised that the fullback was about to put a kick in, so there was no one there putting any pressure on Canberra.
You know where it all starts for the Raiders defensively. When they can't put Munster on the ground, the quick play the ball, as you said, he notices it, identifies it straight away. Grant takes off. Got to put Munster and those sort of guys on the ground. Otherwise, they get those quick play the balls away. They're off and running.
Harry Grant, dangerous enough himself, quite obviously, but when he brings a big man onto the ball, they get a quick play the ball, as Bromwich was able to supply just there.
Jesse, report. Okay, time on.
Jesse Bromwich placed on report for this situation here. Another one where Michael Klukstar is spinning in the tackle and Bromwich comes down on top of him. So Jesse Bromwich placed on report for a crusher-type tackle. Don't forget, beyond this game, Rabbitohs and Dragons. Accor Stadium. Here is Rapiner down the left-hand side. Remus Smith with Jerome Hughes on his inside and Coates on his outside. They have been troubled time and time again by the Raiders. Horsburgh, Starling, a big shift. Schneider takes them on himself. Stopped there by Bromwich and Munster. Just outside the 20. Starling comes back to the middle. Gula, shuffling run where he's met there by Brandon Smith. Alec McDonald downstairs as well. Starling for White, and oh boy, there it is again. Another chance building for Canberra, and they put it down just too simply.
Well, he's just trying to decide what he's going to do before he catches the ball. That time, Jack Whiten, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, trying to get his side back into the game with his defence, but that time just rushing it, and that's been a problem for the Raiders this whole half.
As we were in the process of saying, next up, 5:30 Accor Stadium, the Rabbitohs up against the Dragons. That's an important game for the Dragons in particular. Promising start to the season in the first couple of weeks, but it's ebbed away from them from that point on. And Anthony Griffin has turned to experience as opposed to the young players in Sloan and Amone. We'll see how it fares today with Jack Bird. Moses Mbai, of course, filling key roles again today. Rapiner. Stopped here by Pappenhausen. 5 out from their own line to begin this set. Chodrich. And the season with the Bulldogs back with the Raiders. And now a whistle, and they'll be forced to go back and play it on the mark. Nickel Klukstar. Well, they've proven they're good enough. If they can just finish off a movement, score here against Melbourne, and give them a bit of a worry in the final 13 minutes of this game. It's far from done, given what we've seen on the extremities from Melbourne's defence in particular.
You can't play against Melbourne and complete 20 from 33. That's been the Raiders' biggest problem. Their execution at the back end of sets. They've troubled the Melbourne Storm, but just haven't been able to finish off.
Melbourne average giving away 8 penalties per game. That one there ripped away. The call was 2-on-1 from Asava Solomona. The 7th of the game conceded by the Storm. Starling. He finds Schneider. Here's Tarpany. He'll play it just inside the 30. Schneider at first receiver on this left-hand side. They'll go to Nickel Klukstar instead. He had Elliott on his outside, the fullback. Cannon into Cameron Munster, who thought he was taken down illegally by Elliott. Play on the call. Schneider showing it. Whiten is out the back. Smith jamming in again. This time they get a result on this right-hand side. And the efforts of Remus Smith forces a mistake from Canberra.
Well, that was a little bit better that time from the right-hand defence of the Storm. They come up, made the Raiders make the decision. They haven't been the greatest there in this game, have they? The right-hand side of their defence, Melbourne. But that time they came up and just shut the play down.
Coates following in Remus Smith. The back there of Ryan Sutton and forced the mistake. Melbourne to work it away from their own end. Downstairs to Jake Duke.
Yeah, good news for the Raiders for the last 12 minutes of this game. Elliott Whitehead has passed his HIA, so he will be free to return. He's got the card in his hand here on the sideline.
Good news after that knock earlier in this second half. Oh, Coates took a shot there for his trouble from Horsburgh, didn't he? The sticky stuff on the hands and the forearms. For the Englishman, he'll be back out there in a moment. As we approach the 70-minute mark.
Brandon Smith back on. Just need that little bit of a lift, don't they, Melbourne? I know they're leading 24-8, but we'll see what the Cheese can come up with at the back end of this game.
Here is Jesse Bromwich. On this left-hand side, linking up.
Get up now, Brad.
As they'll play it there through Kenny Bromwich. Down the short side, Munster. Kick goes down the throat. Oh, Nick Chotrich, who will wind it back, sees Jesse Bromwich, tries to run away from him, and then Munster was thinking one-on-one strip while he was flying down the field. Always got his eyes on the prize, looking to pick somebody's pocket. Canberra at the moment, their completion rate slumping as it has done through the second half again. Similar story to last week where they were 7 from 16. 62% for the game at the moment at 21 from 34. Melbourne at 29 from 34 by comparison. This is the only story in the game, but Canberra just continually hurting themselves in games with their lack of completion rates. Starling comes to Horsburgh. Here is Whiten. He had Nickel Klukstar back on the inside. Beat Kafusi. He's got Whitehead there backing up. Grabbed by Xavier Coates. A try-saving tackle by the winger. Whiten flips it through the hands of Nickel Klukstar. Starling, Schneider. He'll kick towards the corner. He'd like that moment back. It was knocked on, though, by Munster. So he gets a result. I don't know that that was the play blocker.
No, he loves backing himself, doesn't he, Munster? Just attack the footy.
Hey, cheers.
And comes away with the knock-on.
Melbourne are challenging the ruling of knock-on.
How's he going to challenge that? It's a knock-on for your life, isn't it?
Don't know. Watch this again. He's saying it was backwards off his hands, or off his knee. That might be a help.
Cameron Munster with the hands. Ball comes off the knee.
And then I think, if nothing else, Nick Meaney knocks the ball on at the second effort.
Look where Meaney's facing here.
His right hand there is going to be obscured by Brandon Smith on that angle. This one here, just watch. I thought his right hand might have propelled the ball towards the opponent's goal line. A little touch there, I would have thought, constituted a knock-on.
Just looking to confirm whether Nick Meaney has knocked this ball on. Cameron Munster has put him on side.
It's clean bowled Cameron Munster. I think we've established that.
He's had an air swing, hasn't he?
But I think the right hand is the issue there for Nick Meaney. See him just sliding it along the ground, trying to clean that ball up.
Yep, the backhand.
Yep.
It went back originally, and then his right hand has knocked the ball on there, right there.
The bunker taking another look at it here. Right hand touches the ball, ball hits the deck.
And Nick Meaney has knocked the ball on with the right hand.
There we go.
Challenge is unsuccessful.
We got there.
Unsuccessful, boys. It's a knock-on.
So Brad Schneider, I think, breathes a little sigh of relief. Like that one, if they put it through the hands, there was a real chance on that right edge. Instead, he put it on the ground. They get a result anyway, but they need more than repeat sets at the moment. They need points in a hurry.
Yeah, and they need it off this set. We saw the difference between the two teams, didn't we, just a little bit earlier when the start of the second half, the Raiders had all the ball down here and couldn't score. And then we saw Melbourne get one opportunity, even in zero tackle, when Olam scored. That's been the difference between the two teams. They just take their chances better.
So it's Whiten off the scrum win. Nickel Klugstad, they got them eventually. They had to. Chottridge plants it down. They keep attacking Remus Smith and Xavier Coates, and this time they finally finish one off, and they are not done with yet.
Yeah, Chottridge finishes it off there, just held his nerve. I think you'll find that Coates that has come in. They get caught flat-footed. Here's the money ball here. Clockstar. Chottridge gets over the stripe. And finally, gee, they could have done that a little bit earlier or in the start of the second half when they had all the pressure put on Melbourne. Might have been a different ball game. And finally, they get one back.
You saw Remus Smith. He had eyes only for Adewidanaida, who was running the decoy on this left-hand side. And as a result, Chottridge able to score comfortably in the corner. 24 points to 12. Schneider here kicking into the wind. If they are to be a factor, they need to convert these, but it's not easy from out wide. A bit of rain falling and into the wind here in this second half. Just over 8 on the clock. Schneider's strike is a good one. Bending back. What a good kick. It's game on here in Wagga Wagga. The first of 3 live today on Super Saturday on Fox League. And it's Melbourne 24, Canberra 14.
Well, let's hope we see them throw caution to the wind as we did in the back end of the first half there from the Raiders. They've finally got that try. It'll be interesting to see Melbourne's attitude now defensively. As we said, their right-hand defence has just been brittle. I reckon half a dozen times they've come down that side and got them in 6s and 7s.
Rabbitohs and Dragons to follow this one, of course, the 5:30 game, the nightcap tonight. Titans and the Eels. Cbus Super Stadium. Eels in great form over the past couple of weeks, including a win. The only loss that Melbourne have taken so far in 2022. They're working here to avoid a second loss against Canberra. And they're up against it at the moment as far as momentum in the game is concerned. Canberra have certainly had all the better of the attacking situations, but still they trail by 10. They'll need to be just about perfect from here.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they've got the energy left when you play a big side like the Melbourne Storm.
This is where they've had success. It's Nickel Klugstad, Hadawidanaida going in and away on Remus Smith. Nickel Klugstad has a full 360. Kafusi in his trail runs towards Josh King. And the fullback will play it there. But every time Canberra come left, and here they go again, they get something happening. Whitehead runs 25 metres here. Dragging Bromwich back with him, and also Hughes. Massive metres off this set of 6, off the back of points. Horsburgh standing in the tackle. Grabbed by the jumper just by Jerome Hughes. Last play here. Whitehead goes to Whiten. Puts it on the toe. Is it too big? Getting back there. Pappenhausen just watches it. They needed a better result than that.
Yeah, they did. Whiten's kicking game again. But it's left all to him. Pappenhausen got on his bike there. Just lets the ball go dead in goal. And they were building for something there, the Canberra Raiders. But again, the back end of the set, they kick it dead in goal.
Just felt like the kick should have been a kick to the corner for Rapana out wide to steam onto it and have the jump on the outside backs out there, Meaney and Olam for the Melbourne Storm. Instead, he went with a grubber through the middle and didn't work out. Rapana was waiting for it out wide. He's still there. Here is, coming out of the line, Hadawidanaida trying to put a real shot there on Josh King. Brandon Smith, he finds Jesse Bromwich. Takes it down to just outside the Raiders 30. They can put them away with a 4-pointer here, but that would be against the run of play. Here's Asifa Solomona to Hughes. Watch him dance in space and create openings for himself. He beats everybody. Did he I don't know that he did.
Okay.
He was spun onto his back as he went across the line, and Jared Sutton initially says no try.
Hasn't he got great awareness? In space again, Hughes just took off there. A couple of missed tackles. Gets taken down before the line, rolls over. Lockstar is underneath him here.
Momentum has taken Jerome Hughes into the in goal.
Do you know what? Has he scored that?
The point of the ball, second if it went
There it is.
very close to touching the turf. Does it touch it?
I think it's a try. He's touched that. Do you reckon?
Maybe with a second or third effort even. The bunker says green lights, and Jerome Hughes, what a mover he is. It'll look great again watching him dance in traffic, and he keeps moving at speed. There's no slowdown. He cuts back on the inside and just finds a way through. He'd be the king of mazes. Watch this again. Green jumpers all around him, steps between 3 or 4 of them on a couple of different efforts, and then wins the race to the line and does just touch down with the point.
Yeah, all from an offload there from Bigasofa there. Look at the footwork too. And speed, just takes off after the step. Gets dragged down before, but momentum takes him over. I think it's fair enough too that he gets the ball down there.
Oh, he's some sort of player. We speak about the superstars in the game because he doesn't play for either of New South Wales or Queensland. He sometimes gets overlooked, but he is as good as anybody that wears a number 7 in the competition.
No, you're 100% right. I bet you they value him. The Melbourne Storm. He's a very consistent player too, plays well every week.
Yeah, it's Pappenhausen from just beside the uprights. He's going to be with the Melbourne Storm until the end of 2025. Jerome Hughes having just re-signed until the end of 2026. And the only man they're waiting on is Cameron Munster, who's still a Melbourne Storm player until the end of next season as well. But boy, if they keep both Hughes and Munster with Pappenhausen and Harry Grant, they have the spine locked up for the next 3 or 4 seasons, don't they?
Yeah, I'd be very surprised if Munster doesn't stay with the Melbourne Storm. He's the last one to sign by the look of it.
Maybe Braithen Astor can tell us more about it. After full time, of course, back in the studio with the boys to wrap up this game and preview the clash. The Rabbitohs and the Dragons. The Canberra goes short. Hadawin United with the tap back. Comes here to Corey Horsburgh. And it's a 16-point lead now. A 3-try game as far as what Canberra have to produce will be a factor here, and perhaps the clock. And the Melbourne Storm have beaten them today in Wagga Wagga. Starting from dummy half. Comes to Tarpany. Canberra still completing at just 65% for the game. They've dominated the second half as far as field position. Horsburgh here going nowhere in that particular tackle. Grabbed by Liero and also McDonald. At the back, here's Schneider on this left-hand side. He's got Nickel Crookstar with him there. Jerome Hughes, though, keeps his spacing in the line and makes a very good stop with Remus Smith jamming in to help out. Whitehead, last play, Schneider grubbers, sits up nicely here for Cameron Munster. There was a chaser for Canberra, went down, Munster's away. One-on-one here with Tom Starling, but the referee has blown the whistle. They'll jog away, Munster and Starling get a bit of extra fitness work in. Cameron's not convinced he shouldn't plant it down just in case, but the player's going to get called back all the way to the other end.
He looks super fit too. I know what a great player he is, Munster, but looks a lot fitter, leaner this season.
About where I am. Yep. That's it, mate. It's a penalty. There's
Jack Whiten there chasing through. Taken down is the call by Jared Sutton.
Just time's off, mate. Just let me get back and give you a whistle.
Hunt's has gone 200 metres. 100 of them at pretty good clip. Just a bit of a jog back. Take his place in the defensive line. Here is Nickel Klugstad. They'll play at 10 metres out. Hadawin United grabbing Liero there. Don't know what that was about. Here's Tarpany. Back on the inside for Whiten. Runs at McDonald, who bounces back to his feet. Now Tarpany stepping off the right foot. Back into the traffic though. McDonald is there underneath him. King is also there. Liero tries to grab a leg and take him to ground. Midway through the set, it's Whiten. Back on the inside is Whitehead. Hasn't been all that convincing at times, the combinations on either side, but they've got injury concerns, of course, the Raiders still. As Schneider finds Nickel Klugstar over the top, a chance for Rapiner, fires it back on the inside. Valame is there, and who scored the try just before half-time to give them a chance. They've certainly had their chances in this second half. We've got another one here. Schneider kicks across the face of everybody. It'll go up. White was up too early. Coates made a grab. He never left the ground. He wraps it up, and Melbourne have done enough to seal their 4th win of the season here today.
Yeah, they've played well in patches, haven't they? Every time the Canberra Raiders look like they're going to get back into the game, they've just put the foot down. Whether Craig Bellamy will be that happy with his team's performance here this afternoon. I know they scored 30 points, but gee, they've been a little bit brittle down their right side.
Yeah, invariably, when he is unhappy, it's defensively his concerns are most apparent, and I think he'll be doing quite a bit of work on both edges, but this right edge in particular, the combination of Smith and Coates, still a bit of a work in progress with Xavier Coates moving from the Broncos. Here he is, floating down the field. Didn't get a touch on that one. Chotrich ends up with it. We have 60 seconds remaining at McDonald's Park here in Wagga. Second game on the road for the Canberra Raiders. Last week, Mudgee, similar scoreline. Went down in that one, 25 points to 6. Today it's 30 points to 14. They'll be 2 and 3, while the Storm will be 4 and 1. The next couple of weeks looking ahead as they come back to this left-hand side. Tarpany's pass goes to ground. That's been a pattern today. Hadawida United cutting back on the inside. Next week, the Raiders will take on the Cowboys, having already been beaten by them up there in Townsville back in round 2, and fairly convincingly. They went down 26-6 up there at Queensland Country Bank Stadium. Whiten comes out here to Whitehead on the wraparound. Whiten runs himself into a dead end though, gives it to Chotrich. He stays away from Smith. Here's Hadawida United, comes back to Horsburgh. He puts a big step on McDonald. That was effective. Over the top. Oh, Olam, did he get there early? No. The referee says Starling had touched it. And the game ends with an exclamation mark from Justin Olam.
Ooh, he was just waiting for that. They were just throwing the ball around to anyone not in a better position than themselves there. The Raiders just trying to play catch up there. And Olam had his sights set here.
Perhaps the game hasn't ended. Did Schneider touch this?
Justin Olam makes contact.
Was Olam there early? Canberra challenging.
Challenge is successful.
The last play of the game. And if the bunker rules that Olam got there too early, we haven't quite wrapped up things completely here in Wagga.
Okay, it's a penalty.
He got blindsided there. Schneider.
Looks as though it's going to be a penalty with Olam just getting there a fraction before the ball. So while everybody is shaking hands and they've exchanged phone numbers and who's going for pizza back in town after this, they've got one more play. Tap it and take a field goal from right in front.
I don't think so.
No, they're going to take the 2 instead.
Are they?
They are.
Yeah.
Just to soak up a bit more time before the pizzas are delivered to the rooms. John Rapper says, well, we're not really taking the 2, are we?
No,
he said, I can't believe it.
You couldn't be.
He threw the ball at Brad Schneider in disgust there. Yeah. Oh, seriously.
Kick and practice.
Jordan wasn't happy. Schneider won't muck around, though. And from right in front, 20 metres out, he puts 2 points on the board. Changes our full-time scoreline. Will amend things. They didn't write it down too quickly at home. At full-time here in Wagga, Melbourne, their 4th victory of the season. They've beaten Canberra 30 points to 16.